Welcome to the Dynasty Football Key. We're here to unlock success in every episode. We talk NFL and fantasy football year round, so like and subscribe to stay ahead of the game. Really appreciate you guys joining today. I'm going to go ahead and get into a rookie mock draft now that the Super Bowl is over. So let's start this draft. I'm going to go ahead and start with the first pick. This is a 12-team tight end premium super flex draft, and I'm on the clock. And I'm actually going to start this one off with Caleb Williams. Really, with 12-team leagues, quarterback is just such a need, and don't want to pass on really good prospect in Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams. Turn that audio down a little bit. And back on the clock in the third round. Let's see, between Keon Coleman, wide receiver out of Florida State, Adonai Mitchell, wide receiver out of Texas. So at this point in the draft, if you have the 2-1, you're hoping a running back falls to you in that third round. Receiver may be, I feel like, best available, but if you got the running back one that you really like, then go ahead and take him. I'm just going to take Trey Benson here because I think even though there may be another running back one that I like, Trey Benson's coming into the season healthy and really like what he's been able to offer. And, it looks like I would have been able to take my wide receiver choice because one of my other favorite running backs has fallen here in Bucky Irving, running back out of Oregon. And before I lock in that pick, I just want to check if the draft settings are all right here. All right. Yeah, Sleeper's not giving me my fifth round for some reason. I'm still going to go ahead and take Bucky Irving here. And maybe this is just going to be a 3-round. It says 5 rounds here at the top. Where are my other rounds, Sleeper? Let's see if they pop up here after this round. Okay, there we go. We're good. Okay, so I'll go with the Senior Bowl riser, Roman Wilson, wide receiver out of Michigan. I'm going to build my team first, and then we can do a little recap of the draft. Really, now that we've got draft order, we're going to start seeing more and more mocks. I'm interested in doing mocks based on NFL landing spots that are mocked up by some of the folks out in the industry. For now, well, I think here I will take Brendan Rice. Brendan Rice. I think that's pretty good late pick there. I could actually think I maybe should have just taken the tight end here. Still, let's fill out the rest of this draft, and then we can do a little recap. Okay. Let's get Frank Gore Jr. in there. And go. Take Malik. No, go Isaiah Davis. Oh, there's still some guys down here at running back. We'll see what happens in real life. So off the board, let's recap my team. Caleb Williams, Trey Benson, Bucky Irving, Roman Wilson, Brendan Rice. I really like the quarterback and running backs that I got, and I like the receivers that I got. I mean, this will be a pretty good draft. I don't see all of the players that went ahead of him going ahead. I think with the tight end premium, a lot of these guys started to go. We'll see how the draft capital lands for these players, and that'll ultimately decide how things shake out. But for now, I mean, if I were to walk away with this team from the 101, I feel pretty good. I got a potential option at receiver, got a couple running backs and a quarterback that I like. But for the first round, it was Caleb Williams, quarterback. Run continues there with Jaden Daniels out of LSU. Malik Neighbors also out of LSU, his teammate. Wide receiver somehow goes ahead of Marvin Harrison Jr. in this mock. So it's not perfect. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Even though there are a lot of people that have Neighbors as potentially being better, and both Jaden Daniels and Neighbors had the best stats at their position this past season. At the 105 is Drake May, quarterback out of University of North Carolina. Then 106 is Brock Bowers. Makes sense. I've been debating how early does Bowers go. 106 seems to be a good spot. It's just really tough to take him ahead of the quarterbacks. Maybe if the quarterback gets lesser draft capital than expected, then Bowers can rise. Bowers versus Malik Neighbors is just really tough to pass on Neighbors for Bowers. And even Odunze, a lot of folks have as a potential lead wide receiver on a team in the NFL. So I think there's room for him to still fall. And it's hard to see him rise, but it is possible. 107 is Rome Odunze out of Washington. Then 108, Bo Nix out of Oregon. 109, Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver from LSU. At the 110 is J.J. McCarthy, quarterback from Michigan. Won that title this past season. And he's getting a lot of buzz, is getting first-round capital. We're hearing that at least one of these fourth quarterbacks might get the draft capital that will push them into our first round. So let's hold out hope for that. That can really add some depth to this class. At the 111, we got Troy Franklin, the teammate of Bo Nix, wide receiver out of Oregon. Then we've got at the 112 to end the round, the first round, we've got Xavier Worthy, who should have the speed to get him drafted very highly. Second round begins with Trey Benson, Braylon Allen, running back from Wisconsin. And then we've got Adonai Mitchell, Texas wide receiver, followed by another Texas player, Jatavian Sanders, the tight end. Then Keon Coleman, wide receiver out of Florida State University. We've got Blake Corum, champion out of Michigan, running back, followed by another running back in Jonathan Brooks. And he was one where I was saying that, yes, I like him the most. It just depends on the situation. I think in a 101, you're a team that maybe isn't a win now team and you could afford a Jonathan Brooks. So that may make more sense to hold and stash him if you really believe he's the running back one, which I really like him. Michael Penix Jr. goes at the 2-8, quarterback from Washington. Devontae Walker at the 2-9, Drake May's teammate out of UNC, wide receiver. Then Ladd McConkey. I would probably have McConkey higher than Walker just based on his separation ability. Ladd McConkey out of Georgia just really shown that he can produce in a tough conference, even with tough competition on his team. 211, Will Shipley, running back out of Clemson. 212, wide receiver Malachi Corley. And that ends the second round. And we can go into the third round here. Malachi Corley out of Western Kentucky. So the third round, Bucky Irving, Oregon running back. Xavier Leggett, South Carolina wide receiver. We'll see how he tests. I think that's important since his height measurables are smaller than expected at the Senior Bowl. Audric Estime, another running back that, really it's take your guy at this point. He went to Notre Dame and showed he can be, maybe a goal line back. Jermaine Burton, He goes here at, what pick is this? The 3-4. And he is out of Alabama. I believe he stayed all 4 years. Oops. Jalen Polk at the 3-5, wide receiver out of Washington. Johnny Wilson. He goes here at the 3-6, wide receiver out of Florida State. And Jalen McMillan, 3-7, wide receiver out of Washington. Got 3-8, running back Marshawn Lloyd from USC, Southern Carolina. Excuse me, University of Southern California. Ray Davis goes at the 3-9. Spencer, I mean, he's a running back, but I'm seeing the auto order is still getting closer. You can tell a lot of folks have been doing mock drafts. I think the order is starting to get to not a consensus, but I did a mock the first day that Sleeper updated the order, and I can tell this is much different. So anyway, 3-9, Ray Davis, running back out of Kentucky. Spencer Rattler, quarterback, who won the Senior Bowl MVP title there. He is out of South Carolina. Did I say South Carolina? I meant to say South Carolina, formerly of OU. He was the one that got replaced by Caleb Williams and transferred over. But really, we'll see. He still has an arm and has, as far as the media critiques from the Senior Bowl, it seems like he's really increased his stock from what it was pre-Senior Bowl. Ricky Parasol at the 3-1, and AJ Barner to end the third round. And he's out of UI, or transferred out of UI to Michigan. So another one of these championship team members. And I'm not going to be surprised if we see them increase. I've seen a lot of NFL mock drafts with AJ Barnes just steadily rising. People seem to really like AJ Barner. So that's one to keep an eye on and see where he goes. And I don't think I mentioned Ricky Parasol was out of Florida. So let's go on to the fourth round. Roman Wilson, I think this is a big slide. He is out of Michigan as well on that championship team. So that was back-to-back for Michigan. And I've only been seeing him in the third round in mock drafts with other people in it. So really questioning that one. I could see him going over Barner, but in a tight end premium, who knows? And then you got Jacob Counting here at the 4-2 out of Arizona, wide receiver out of Arizona. We got Joe Milton, quarterback out of Tennessee. Jace McClellan, running back from Alabama. Then we have at the 4-5, we've got Dylan Lobb, and he's out of New Hampshire, running back. Then we have Michael Pratt. Oh, did they add? Oh, they did. They added these. Okay, yeah. Michael Pratt out of Tulane. Jordan Travis, quarterback out of Florida State. Let's see if he can recover from that injury because he had a lot of rushing upside. Okay. Yeah, I like the potential of something happening with him. We will see. But, yeah. Anyway, J. Michael Sturdivant, wide receiver out of UCLA at the 4-8. Cade Stover, tight end out of Ohio State at the 4-9. Then we have at the 4-10, Colorado State tight end Dylan Hoker. And the tight end run continues at 4-11. We've got Tanner McLellan. And in the fourth round, Sam Hartman, quarterback out of Notre Dame. And here we go in the fifth round. I took Brendan Rice, which I thought was another kind of slipped, but we'll see how he ultimately tests. He had a little stock improvement from the Senior Bowl, but not everyone's sold yet. At the 5-2, we've got Ben Sinnott, tight end from Kansas State. Theo Johnson, the Penn State tight end. He goes at the 5-3. We've got Devin Leary, Kentucky quarterback, at the 5-4. Jaheim Bell at the 5-5, tight end from Florida State. Torrey Horton, Colorado State wide receiver. Bryson Nesbitt, North Carolina, tight end. Jared Wiley, TCU, tight end at the 5-8. Jamari Thrash at the 5-9, running back wide receiver out of Louisville. Anais Smith, wide receiver out of Texas A&M at the 5-10. At the 5-11, Frank Gore Jr., Southern Miss, running back. And the final pick of the draft is running back out of South Dakota State by the name of Isaiah Davis. So, some really, when we look at this, I think really the third round is going to have a lot of good players. I'm still interested in collecting third round picks. Fourth round, we're going to need the draft to help us out. I think anyone who ends up getting the draft capital is going to push up, and I can see a lot of these quarterbacks start to fall back. And this fourth round just doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence outside of the Roman Wilson here, but I definitely think he would go into that third round. I could see maybe the first half of the fourth round having some players that we can tell will have some roles, but after that, I generally want to be taking running backs later in these drafts, especially when you already have a team. I've been building teams that are focused around my foundation of quarterbacks and wide receivers. I might have a tight end already. So in the drafts, I'm taking, especially with the picks, I'm not sure what they're going to be. I'll take those running backs, and maybe they just get a spot start. They don't even need a full-time, well-defined role. Maybe I get a week or two out of them or something like that, where I can definitely start them. Whereas some of those later receivers, I would hope that I could start Brendan Rice at some point, but it might be tough. It might even be tough to start a Roman Wilson. We'll see. But that's all I got for you today. Really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and let me know who your late round picks are in your drafts. And have a good one.